Tonight, young thieves smashed their way into a southern suburbs home. How the suspects botched their getaway. Diggers endanger the unprecedented safety warning ahead of Anzac Day. Gumtree scam, a man bashed and robbed of his car. How you can protect yourself. The storm brewing over which beer is really better for you. And the Power bracing for another Power Pepper penalty as the AFL closes in on its investigation.
7 News with John Riddell.
Good evening. An O'Halloran Hill family has become the latest victim of young thieves who carry out terrifying home invasions in the dead of night. 4 suspects smashed through a rear door and stole 2 cars before botching their getaway.
Just before 3 a.m, the gang of 4 forced their way through the back door of a Blue Hills Road home.
They broke in, stole all of our phones, all the keys to our cars, and my mum's handbag.
But they had trouble stealing 2 Volkswagens in the driveway.
They were trying to hurry, but they couldn't take the handbrake off the car because it has an electric handbrake, so they crashed. We've got skid marks and everything on our driveway.
A short time later, the driver of the white sedan was speeding on the wrong side of Ocean Boulevard at Seacliff Park when he hit a median strip and crashed into an embankment before running away from the wreck. His passenger, who suffered non-life-threatening injuries, was arrested at the scene.
I'm glad no innocent people were hurt in the accident because I've lost a co-worker before to someone driving a stolen car that hit them.
O'Halloran Hill residents are shocked by the random attack, and many say they'll be increasing their home security.
Door's always locked, but I guess probably definitely put the car behind the carport opposed to having it exposed to the public.
We would make sure our front and back doors are locked when we're inside even.
This afternoon, police found the second stolen Volkswagen dumped at Modbury. Peter Caldecott, 7 News.
The RSL has made an urgent request for extra medical volunteers for the city's Anzac Day march amid serious concerns about trip hazards from delayed tram works. Elspeth Hussey joins us. These are unprecedented measures.
Yeah, that's right, John. The RSL has been scrambling to ensure the safety of its war veterans, many of them more than 100 years old. As you can see here, there is still plenty of work to do. Back to you.
Thanks, Elle. Hundreds of protesters are rallying against live exports at Port Adelaide, where another load of sheep is due to be shipped to the Middle East within days. Andrea Nicholas is there, and Andrea, they're determined to have the practice banned.
They are, John, and the numbers here speak for themselves. And it's not just animal activists. Representatives from the meat industry union are here, all furious authorities haven't stepped in. They're particularly angry. The ship set to be loaded here, the Beta 3, is still being used. The 40-year-old vessel is one of only 3 two-tiered ships still operating in Australia. Protesters say the ventilation is horrific, and 5 years ago it cost more than 3,000 South Australian sheep their lives. Today's protest comes just weeks after sickening images of 5 voyages to the Middle East were leaked, causing outrage across the country.
They do end up down and sick, very ill. A lot of them have pneumonia, lateness issues, obviously heat stress, dehydration.
And it's absolutely in South Australia's economic interests to transition live export farmers over to the chilled meat trade.
The state government is standing by the live export industry, saying it's worth $40 million, but it does support the Export Council of Australia's move to improve conditions. Now, the Beta 3 is still offshore, but protesters here fear it'll only be a matter of hours before more animals are put at risk. John?
Thank you, Andrea. A warning tonight after a man selling his car on Gumtree was lured to a trap, then bashed and robbed by lying thugs. Security experts say there are simple ways those who sell online can protect themselves. Disgraced cricketer Dave Warner has swapped his bat for a drill, using his time off from the game to get his hands dirty. Wearing a white hard hat with the words "Apprentice Celebrity" scrawled on it, he appeared to be enjoying the career change. Warner was working on the site of his new luxury home in Sydney. He's serving a 12-month ban for his role in the ball tampering scandal. Time for sport now. And Bruce, when is Sam Powell-Pepper going to get a run? When are we going to get a decision? What's going on?
Jack, the AFL has actually completed its investigation. They've got clearly a penalty in mind. Just a little bit of negotiation at the moment with Port Adelaide about what that penalty is. So maybe a little difference of opinion about what the length of that should be.
Anytime soon would be good.
Also coming up in sport, we'll get the last word and team news from the SCG as the injury-hit Crows prepare for their Swans test. Plus, Aussie Ben Simmons puts on a stunning show for the 76ers in the NBA playoffs. And there was a nasty crash during practice ahead of the V8 Supercars round at Phillip Island.
And still to come this hour, our changing taste in meat, what we're eating and why.
Adelaide's mobility scooter menace,
We're going to see more people killed.
putting their own lives and others at risk. Should they have to go for a licence? Today Tonight.
Welcome back. 7 News can reveal the AFL has completed its investigation into Sam Powell-Pepper's late night incident. But the league is still in talks with Port Adelaide on the extra penalty it wants to give the midfielder. And Seven's Basil Zemplis is at the SCG. And Baz, do you give the Crows any chance tonight?
Have a good evening to you. Well, look, no, it's going to be tough for them to win. They've got 5 of their best 10 from last year, top 10 in the best and fairest out tonight. By contrast, Sydney have got all 10 of their best 10 from last year. Very difficult on Sydney's home deck, so they're right up against it, that's for sure.
Now, you're surrounded by some of the great AFL captains in that commentary box. What's everyone expecting to see from Tex Walker tonight?
I'm glad you asked, Aaron. It's been much discussion already up in the box tonight. More intensity, simple as that. 4 goals, 3 goals and 2 goals in the 3 games that he's played. He has hit the scoreboard, but he needs to go harder at it. That's what the skippers want. Hard to lead from that forward 50, I know. It's harder to get more physical if you're not a physical player, but that's what the boys want tonight.
Now, you're looking forward to seeing first game up Miles Paholke.
Might be the best name in the AFL ever, isn't it? A beauty. The 19-year-old from Victoria. He's been on the list for a year or so now. Was emergency a few times last year. Hard at it. I think South Australians are going to enjoy seeing him go at it. He can get forward and kick a goal. And that's 2 19-year-olds in the team tonight. So Don Pike bringing the young players through.
Thanks, Basil. Adelaide United's inspirational skipper Isaias will tackle Melbourne victory on Sunday. Coach Marco Kerr says the Reds' bitter rivalry with the victory should have no bearing on the elimination final at Amy Park. And our one to watch tomorrow at Morphettville is Harmattan in race 7. Good luck with that. And good luck also to the Adelaide Crows, of course, playing at Sydney on 7 live and free in about half an hour's time, Jack.
Don't miss it. Be a great game.
Yep.
Thanks, Bruce. To your money, the Australian share market has closed lower largely because of losses in the mining sector. Shares in AMP fell after Chief Executive Craig Miller resigned with immediate effect. And the Aussie dollar's buying 77 US cents. Still to come this hour, Adelaide's mobility scooter menace should riders be forced to get a licence.
And we could see a shower or two over the weekend. I'll have the details in the forecast live from Findon up next.
A couple in the United States has just welcomed, wait for it, their 14th son into the family. Kateri and Jay don't have any daughters, just a huge clan of boys ranging from 2 days to 25 years old. The odds of having so many sons in a row are less than 0.02%. That's a soccer team with 3 reserves. To the weather now, and Amelia's at Findon for the last day of the Special Olympics, where it's a pretty warm night, Amelia.
It sure is, John. It's around 27 degrees at the moment. Lovely conditions for athletes celebrating after the closing ceremony wrapped up here at Titanium Security Arena a short time ago. Today in the city, we hit a top of 31.5 degrees this afternoon. Our overnight low of 21's actually much closer to the April daytime temperature average. Warm statewide with the odd shower across the south. In 24 hours, Ceduna collected almost 7 millimetres in the gauge. Now it's a mixed bag weather-wise interstate tomorrow. A shower or two's forecast over Perth and Brisbane, maybe later over Hobart, dry in Melbourne 23 and in Sydney 24. Back home, and there's a chance of showers south of about Ceduna to Lee Creek to Renmark, more likely south of Port Lincoln to Port Augusta to Lameroo. A top of 24's forecast West for Mount Gambier, 31 for Renmark, 22 for Victor Harbour, 29 for Nuriotpa and Kandina, 31 for Port Pirie, 29 for Whyalla. On metro waters, variable winds becoming southwesterly and reaching 15 knots around midday with seas below a metre. In the city, and the temperature isn't likely to drop below 19 degrees overnight, then up to 28 tomorrow. A morning shower or two's tipped. We could maybe hear the odd rumble of thunder. Of course, drying out over the weekend. But John, importantly, a warm night here for all our athletes who are definitely celebrating.
Good on them. We wish them well. Have a great weekend. Stay with us now for Today Tonight. Here's Rosanna.
Thank you, John. You too. Good evening to you and welcome to the program. Coming up tonight, Adelaide's reckless riders, the push for compulsory gopher licences. Our forgotten World War II heroes now fighting for recognition. Plus Australia's favourite meats, what we're buying and why. But first tonight, the mobility scooter menace on our roads. Gopher owners often have no other options of getting around, but they can become a danger to themselves and others. Now, after dozens of deaths, the scooters are the subject of a Senate inquiry. And as Patrick Major reports, there are calls for riders to undergo compulsory training. Patrick Major there, and we're keen to know what you think. Do you support compulsory training for mobility scooter owners? To vote in the poll, just head to our website. And coming up next on the program, Australia's forgotten World War II vets, plus our changing meat tastes, why more of us are bringing home the bacon.
It's cheaper, it's healthier, and it's actually tasty.
Well, turning now to Australia's forgotten World War II veterans. Last week, 15 of our unsung heroes flew to Britain to see their feats commemorated for the first time. They were members of Bomber Command, one of the most dangerous jobs in the war, where 4 in every 10 Australians died. But as David Richardson reports, they're still fighting for recognition from their own country. That's probably about time. They were remarkable. David Richardson with that report. But up next, Australia's favourite meats, what we're buying and why.
We are spending a little bit less on beef than we were a year ago, but bucking the trend is pork.
Well, now for a look at what's happening overseas as we go around the world in 90 seconds. Our first stop is Japan and a new record for the world's longest hair. Set by a 17-year-old schoolgirl, her luscious locks are 155 centimetres long. She goes through a lot of shampoo and it's a family affair, with her parents helping her wash and blow dry it. The girl says she's never had a proper haircut. In Russia, a young boy runs ahead of his mother while crossing the street, narrowly avoiding tragedy. Thankfully, he escaped serious injury. In California, attack of the tumbleweeds. Up to 150 homeowners found their front yards buried by the prickly weeds, blown in by strong winds. Some residents were trapped inside their houses while authorities spent hours removing truckload after truckload. Still in the US, our last stop tonight is Florida, and it's lucky the owners of this backyard pool looked before jumping in. Now a reptile catcher's trying to fish out the 9-foot-long alligator that found its way into the pool. We wish him luck. And time for the weather now. Amelia, you've been celebrating with our Special Olympians tonight.
Rosanna, they sure know how to party. The closing ceremony wrapped up a short time ago and they're now out here behind Titanium Security Arena celebrating after a huge week. Hundreds of athletes from around the country with an intellectual disability competed in 11 fields with 850 medals handed out. Now, they don't keep records in these Olympics, but we've been told many personal bests were smashed in these games. They've got a warm night to celebrate too, as a high-pressure system continues to draw down hot air from the north of the country. That high is weakening and will allow a low-pressure trough to move across from the west tomorrow. A new high will quickly take its place. Tomorrow, dry over Melbourne and Sydney. A shower or two for Brisbane and Perth, maybe later in Hobart. There's a good chance of showers across the south of SA too. A top of 28 on the way for Clare, 29 for Kadina, Nuriutpa and Elizabeth, 27 for Noarlunga, just 22 for Victor Harbour and 28 for Murray Bridge. In the city, a top of 28 is expected here tomorrow too. There's a chance of a shower in the morning, even with thunderstorms possible, and it could be a bit breezy at times. To boating, and nor'easterly winds becoming variable around sunrise, then turning southwesterly to 15 knots around midday. To surfing, and if you're looking for a wave, there should be some fun surf to be had everywhere this weekend. Looking ahead, and it'll be sunny Sunday, up to 30 degrees on Monday with a shower possible Tuesday, dropping down to a much more autumnal 23 Wednesday for Anzac Day. For now, Rosanna, celebrations must continue.
Looks like a lot of fun. Thank you, Amelia. And we certainly look forward to your company again Monday. Enjoy your weekend and the footy, of course. Good night.